Ladies and gentlemen, we've had unprecedented events this fall in our state, and the board of directors authorized a number of years ago the establishment of the North Carolina Farm Bureau Foundation, and part of the mission of that foundation would be able to receive donations for response to these disasters, and we're very fortunate that we had this instrument in place, and we're very fortunate that corporate leaders in North Carolina stepped up and saw the needs that were developing in rural North Carolina and farming in particular, and stepped up to the plate and made major contributions to the foundation. We thought it was very proper to invite the two lead donors to the convention to bring comments and for us to show appreciation for the faith and trust that they've placed in this organization, but more that they wanted to accomplish and help in the recovery efforts of rural North Carolina. So this morning it is my pleasure to introduce Mike Hughes with Duke Power. The Duke Power Foundation, Duke Energy Foundation, donated $100,000 to the foundation and to the recovery effort. And Mike is the Vice President of Local Government and Community Relations for Duke Energy. Mike's been with Duke for a total of 26 years in various very important roles. Previous to his employment with Duke, he was a newspaper reporter and editor, so he knows how to communicate. And we welcome Mike to the podium to bring us some comments. Mike, come on up.
Well, good morning. I pulled out the wrong thing here. Bear with me one second. I could read to you from your program, but you probably are already familiar with that. Well, thank you for welcoming Duke Energy to your annual meeting and for welcoming me. It's great to see so many representatives from our farming community gathered together this morning. As you can see, I'm someone who does not miss many meals, so I have a great appreciation for the work that you do every day to feed not only my family, but millions of North Carolinians and people across our state and country. Earlier this fall, my company was very proud to help launch a relief effort for North Carolina farmers affected by Hurricane Florence. Many of you, and certainly many of your peers, were hit hard by that devastating storm, particularly down east with the historic flooding. Farmers and farming families are so vital to our state's economy and well-being. And through the years, farmers have stoically gone about their business, playing the hand that Mother Nature has dealt them. But we know that in extreme weather, it's not business as usual. And many impacts from Hurricane Florence and other storms can be devastating. Pardon me. Not just financially devastating, but devastating to the well-being of farmers and their families, and to the practical ability to keep operating. Our $100,000 gift was intended to jumpstart the Farm Bureau's fundraising efforts, and it has, in fact, led to additional contributions, and we're very proud of that. Our donation to the Disaster Relief Fund will go toward nonprofit partners to address animal feed during the winter, farming families' mental health, restoration of streams and pastures, and financial counseling for farming families. We've enjoyed a great partnership with the Farm Bureau and with farmers in North Carolina for many years. We salute you and thank you for the work that you do every day, the blood, sweat, and tears that you pour into keeping our state well-fed and productive. Like you, we will continue to hope for good weather, but we'll also continue to plan for the inevitable storms and try to lessen the financial and emotional impact to the farming community. Thank you again for all that you do, and on behalf of all of us at Duke Energy, we hope that you have a great day here in Greensboro, a very Merry Christmas and a productive and safe 2019. Thank you.
Next, it's my privilege to introduce a young man with Bayer Cropscience. Bayer Cropscience called shortly after the hurricane went through and said, "We'd like to help. Who's putting together a relief effort?" And of course, we said, "We are." And so this morning, again, we thought it would be very appropriate to invite them to come and see the representatives of the communities that are being impacted by the foundation's efforts. And this morning we have with us Trey Davis, Director of Governmental Affairs with Bayer Cropscience. But he moved into Bayer Cropscience through Monsanto merger, and but prior to his working with Bayer Cropscience, Trey was the Governmental Affairs Department for Virginia Farm Bureau. So he's in the family, and he's with us this morning. And Trey, come on up, and please take the podium and share whatever comments that you've brought with you this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. As Peter indicated, Trey Davis with Bayer Cropscience, previously with Monsanto. I came with the furniture when Bayer purchased Monsanto, which was right around the same time that Hurricane Florence was bearing down on the Carolinas. Thank you, Mr. Wooten. Thank you to your board of directors and your team and your staff for establishing this fund. And at Bayer, we're very honored and humbled. When Hurricane Florence was coming through, as Peter had indicated, we started the process internally of how can we step up to the plate for North Carolina, and not to take anything away from the other nonprofit foundations that are out there, but we felt like North Carolina Farm Bureau would be good stewards of those dollars, not because of the team that you have here in front of you and around the room, but for you all out there. And I want to say thank you to you all as well. I know with the Farm Bureau annual meetings, you're away from your families, you're away from your farms for a couple days, and it means a lot that you're taking the time to be here as well. Farm Bureau is in the industry's blood throughout the South, throughout the entire country. My Aunt Linda worked for Cumberland County Farm Bureau for years, and a story I don't tell too often, Mr. Wooten, because it tells my mother's age. When my mother left North Carolina in 1980 to go run human resources for Virginia Farm Bureau, she met my father, who was a county Farm Bureau leader at the time. So I'm one of those folks, if it wasn't for Farm Bureau, then I literally would not be standing here. I can say that for certain. We know that 2018 has been an unbelievably tough year when you look at commodity prices, when you look at the trade impact and what the impact it's having on your farms back home. And in particular, you have this hurricane bearing down, on top of it. As was indicated earlier by the comments, we live in a world, when you look back at 2018, on top of all the external challenges that you have in a typical year, we live in a society where litigation is bearing down on agriculture directly, certainly with the hog farms and the nuisance suits, and also if you look nationwide at our flagship product. And I won't comment too much about Roundup because my attorneys will get me in trouble, but I would like to see a show of hands, and I've been doing this every time I get the chance to speak. How many folks in here have sprayed Roundup at some point in their lives? We're close to 100%. I want to say thank you for the faith that you have in modern agriculture, the faith that you have in our products. We have a disconnect between consumers and what you do on your farms. They want you to produce more food, they want it cheaper, but they don't want pesticides, they don't want the technology that's built in the seed that leads to higher yields. If you continue to have faith in our products, then I promise you we'll keep the faith. Every time that you put the seed in the ground, we'll defend our products as vigorously as we can so we can move forward together. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your leadership. Merry Christmas, and may God bless you.